let's build a method to hop between this scene and another one. You'll recall in the beginning we built two scenes, my first scene and my second scene. Let's go into my second scene, and we can see that it's still a blank slate. Let's do a little bit of work in here just to make it interesting real quick. We'll add let's add a quad. We'll put him at 0, 0, 0. Let's go ahead and make him 200 by 200. And how about this one? 200. Oh, goodness. There we go. 90 degrees. Excellent. So, he's set up. Let's give him a material. I went ahead and created a little red material. I just changed up the Adobe settings. Basically clicked right in the middle. We'll add that red material to our plane. All right, that looks pretty cool. It's definitely a contrast between this scene and the last one. I'm going to save the scene real quick. Let's go into our scenes folder and jump into our first scene, and we'll just see the difference between the two of them. Oh, that's quite a difference. We'll go back into our first scene real quick, and we've created an object, a package that you can drop in called the VTL Scene Change Cube. I'm going to go ahead and bring that Scene Change Cube into my prefabs folder. We'll import it, and it will import a Scene Change Cube prefab and a change scene script. Make sure that change scene script gets into our scripts folder, and that scene change cube ends up in our prefabs. Next, I'm going to take that scene change cube. I'm going to put that in our scene, and we'll move it right out over here. It's just a small little cube here. And what to note about it is that it's got a collider on it, and it's got this change scene. This is our first scene in Unity. So I'm going to change this level to load to a 1, and you'll see in a moment why I'm doing this. I'll save my scene, and I'm going to hop over to that other scene we just did a little bit of work in. The second scene. In this scene, I'm also going to add that scene change cube. All right. Where's our camera at? Probably going to want to add that other camera in here as well. Let's go ahead and do that. I'll delete the main camera out of this scene. We'll add the Superman camera. We'll make sure it's not somewhere ridiculous. And we'll even move it around so that way that scene change cube is visible. There we are. Now then, I'm going to select that scene change cube. I'm going to leave that level to load at 0. Then we're going to save our project. Finally, or rather we want to save our scene. Finally, what we want to do, now that we've completed this, we want to go into the build settings window. Now, by default, you shouldn't see these scenes in the build. You'll see scenes in build is a clear window, and we want to add our open scene, which is my second scene, and we want to add the first scene as well. So I'm actually going to click over in my project window, and I'm going to grab that first scene, and I'm going to drag that in here as well. Since that's the first scene, let's go ahead and drag these to reorder them. So now my first scene has an index of 0, and my second scene has an index of 1. That's what we're talking about when we look at our scene change cubes, and they're looking at the level to load. Remember, 0 corresponded to the first scene. So when we're in the second scene, we click this cube, it's going to load the scene at index 0. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to click the cube. It brings us over into our first scene. Excellent. Oh, there's our cube. I'm going to click that cube, and it brings us into our second scene. Perfect. It seems to work. All right. Now, when I turn that off, it will automatically, even if you're in the first scene, pop you into the second scene because that's where you started. All right. Let's give it a save real quick. We're going to open that build settings dialog again. And we're going to check to make sure our PC, Mac, and Linux standalone is selected. Our target platform is Windows. I'm on a 64-bit system, so I'm going to change the architecture to 64-bit. And then we can click Build. And that's the final step to creating any project. It's building out to whatever platform you're developing to. We'll name this my first build. Saving as type exe. Click Save. I'll go ahead and fast forward through to the end of this. And now we have this little build exe along with a data folder and probably a couple of little miscellaneous files that came out alongside it as well. So now I can double click on this standalone player and it'll open up the project configuration window. We'll go ahead and dump that into full screen. Hit play. And here's our scene. We should be able to click on our view cube. Yep, that takes us over where we needed to go. Excellent. Now, what we did not build in was we did not build in a way to get out of this program. And that happens to the best of us. So you can use the Windows shortcut Alt F4, which will close the program. And that's it. That's how you build your first project.